Salah bids farewell to the fans, his new club already confirmed. Real Madrid suffer another crushing defeat. How much longer can Ancelotti hold on? Amorim makes his move for Kvaratskhelia, bringing him to Manchester United, and Endrick on his way to the English Premier League. All this and a whole lot more in today's episode. Ready for it? Well, then let's dive right in. Barcelona could be plotting a dramatic swoop for none other than Liverpool's Egyptian king Mohamed Salah. The winger, who's been tearing up the Premier League since 2017, might just swap the red of Liverpool for the Blaugrana of Barca, and for free, no less. Salah, 32 years young and showing zero signs of slowing down, is entering the final stretch of his Liverpool contract, which expires in 2025. Now, if you're wondering why this is a big deal, let me paint the picture. The man has been electric for the Reds, bagging 9 goals and 7 assists in just 15 games this season. Yet, here we are, with contract negotiations at a standstill and speculation reaching fever pitch. So, why is this happening now? Well, friends, it's all about timing and opportunity. Back in 2021, Barcelona flirted with the idea of signing Salah, but were left heartbroken by Liverpool's hefty price tag and Salah's wage demands. Fast forward to today, and the scenario has flipped. With his contract ticking down, Salah could be available on a free transfer next summer, if no deal is struck. Cue Barcelona's interest lighting up again. Here's where it gets intriguing. After scoring against Brighton recently, Salah took to social media with a cryptic message. "I will never forget what it feels like to score at Anfield, no matter what happens." Now, let's decode that, shall we? Is he hinting at a farewell tour? Or is it just a love letter to the fans? Only time will tell. Rhetorical question time. What would Salah bring to Barcelona? Well, aside from his blistering pace, clinical finishing and knack for the spectacular, he'd inject a dose of star power into a team in desperate need of a renaissance. Barcelona have been admirers for years, and this could be their golden opportunity. Liverpool are keen to extend his stay, and let's not forget the big money offers from Saudi Arabia lurking in the shadows. Yet, here's the kicker, Salah seems open to a new challenge. Diario Sport even labels him a serious target and suggests a move to Barca is feasible. In my opinion, the stage is set for a blockbuster transfer saga. If Salah does leave, he'll want to go out with a bang, much like a rock star's final concert tour. And let's be honest, who wouldn't love to see him dazzle in La Liga? As we move forward, the question isn't whether Salah can still perform at the highest level. He's been doing that for 7 stellar years. The real question is, will he don the Barcelona colours next season? Let's think about it. Imagine Salah lining up alongside Lewandowski with the Camp Nou roaring in the background. It's a tantalising thought, isn't it? So, will Salah swap the red of Liverpool for the blue and garnet of Barcelona? Only time, and perhaps a hefty contract offer, will tell. And now, the final provocative question. If Salah does leave, can anyone truly replace him at Anfield? If you'd told me a few months ago that Vinicius Jr. would be considering an exit from the Bernabeu, I'd have called you mad. But here we are, with Spanish publication Marca. Yes, Marca, a paper often seen as Real Madrid's unofficial mouthpiece, suggesting that this Brazilian magician might actually be on his way out. A player who many thought would light up the Bernabeu for years to come might just be packing his bags. Marca reports that if Vini Jr. becomes available, Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain are ready to pounce. But wait, there's more. Saudi Arabia's Al Hilal aren't just sniffing around, they're leading the chase and they're ready to shatter records to get him. His release clause? A cool €1 billion. Yet, here we are, discussing it like it's a real possibility. Wild, right? Apparently, Vini is weighing his options, both sporting and economic. Let's be honest, who wouldn't, when Saudi clubs are flashing more cash than a high-stakes poker game? Here's what really caught my eye though. A conversation was held between Vinicius and a high-ranking club official before the whole Ballon d'Or fiasco. Marca hints that he's disappointed, yeah, that's putting it mildly, about not even getting close to winning it. Imagine that, after lighting up La Liga and the Champions League, he's left feeling short-changed. The president is reportedly concerned about losing his prized asset. They've even scheduled another meeting with Vini's agent to sort this mess out. But here's the kicker. Todo Fichajes claims Real Madrid already offered him a contract extension and he turned it down flat. Chelsea and PSG are circling like sharks, but honestly, I don't get the Chelsea move. Sure, there's less racist abuse in England and the Blues are building something new under Enzo Maresca, but it's still a project. Can you really see Vinny thriving in a team undergoing reconstruction? PSG, on the other hand, that's a different story. They've got the glitz, the glamour, and most importantly, the financial muscle to make it happen. Imagine him linking up with Dembélé. Talk about a nightmare for defenders. Saudi Arabia's Al Hilal are lurking with a checkbook that makes even Europe's elite blush. They're ready to make Vinny the highest paid player on the planet. Can Real Madrid compete with that? I don't think so. Let's think about it. If you were Vini, would you stay in Madrid where you're already a star but perhaps not appreciated as much as you'd like? Or would you take the money and run to a league where you'd be the undisputed kingpin? In my opinion, this is far from over. Real Madrid will fight tooth and nail to keep him, but if Vini's heart is set on leaving, not even Perez can stop him. As we stand on the precipice of this potential transfer saga, one thing is clear: Vinicius Jr. holds all the cards. So what do you think? Will he stay or will he go? And if he does leave, where will he end up? Manchester City, the reigning kings of domination under the mighty Pep Guardiola, have hit a bump. No, scratch that. They've hit a pothole, a crater, a full-blown disaster movie of a week. 3 losses on the bounce. Let that sink in. 3. Now, before we all lose our heads and start crafting those Guardiola out banners, please don't, let's dissect this. Because here's the kicker. None of these defeats came against the usual European heavyweights. Spurs, Bournemouth, and Sporting CP. Hardly the stuff of nightmares, right? Except here, you City fans wake up to a reality where your favourite team has just been defeated 4-1 by Sporting. Rewind to Pep's very first season. Remember that? It wasn't all sunshine and trophies. There were growing pains, some hair-pulling moments. But fast forward to today, and those days feel like a distant memory. So, is history about to repeat itself? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Pep, ever the optimist, shrugged off the doom and gloom with a philosophical air. We knew it would be a tough season at the start. I like it, I love it, I want to face it and lift my players. Oh, Pep, you romantic. But let's be real here, mate. Even you must be scratching your head at how it's all gone pear-shaped lately. Here's the rub. City have been leaking goals like a sieve. Against Sporting, they were torn apart, a defensive display that had fans yearning for the good old days of Vincent Kompany's no-nonsense clearances. But here's the catch. Without Ruben Dias and John Stones, City's backline has been about as stable as a house of cards in a wind tunnel. And let's talk midfield. Rodri, the unsung hero, the engine that makes this well-oiled machine purr, is out injured. His absence has left a gaping hole, a void that no one seems able to fill. Mateo Kovacic and Ilkay Gündoğan. Both top lads, but let's face it, they're not spring chickens. Their legs don't move quite as fast as they used to. Bernardo Silva, ever the poet on the pitch, pulled no punches. We're in a dark place right now. Even when we are playing well, we don't score our chances and we concede too easily, he confessed, echoing the sentiments of every Sky Blue supporter. Honest words from a man who's been one of City's shining lights. Let's be clear, friends. Injuries have played a massive part in this slump. Losing Rodri was the footballing equivalent of pulling the plug on a life support machine. The midfield, once a fortress, is now a revolving door of players trying to plug gaps with duct tape and hope. But is it just down to injuries? Or has City's recruitment been lacking? Signing players in their late 20s and 30s is all well and good for experience, but where's the youthful exuberance, the next big thing to inject pace and dynamism? Every great team goes through a rough patch. City have been spoiling us with their relentless winning machine persona, so maybe this is just a blip, a speed bump on the road to more glory. But, and it's a big but, if they don't address these glaring issues pronto, that dark place Bernardo mentioned might just get a whole lot darker. So, City officially in crisis? I'll leave you with this thought. City still have the best manager in the world at the helm. They still have a squad brimming with talent. But, my fellow fans, the clock is ticking. Fix it, Pep. Fix it fast. Could this be the wake-up call City needed, or are we witnessing the beginning of a full-blown meltdown? One thing's for sure, it's going to be one hell of a ride. Old Trafford might be about to get a serious jolt of Georgian magic. We're talking Ivica Kvaratskhelia, the Napoli winger who's been dazzling Serie A, and guess who's reportedly eyeing him up? None other than Manchester United, freshly invigorated by the arrival of gaffer Ruben Amorim, £90 million sterling. They say he's worth. Now, some might call that a king's ransom, but for a talent like Kvaratskhelia, is it truly over the top? Let's think about it. This lad, a mere 23 years young, is already being compared to the legendary Maradona. Maradona, folks, for his mesmerizing footwork. He's not just quick, he's electric, leaving defenders in his dust. And he's not just about dribbling. He can thread a pass like a surgeon with a scalpel, and his shots from outside the box? Absolute rockets! Amorim, the new sheriff in town, clearly sees him as the missing piece of the puzzle, the creative spark to ignite United's attack. He's reportedly calling him a special talent, capable of lighting up Old Trafford. Honestly, I couldn't agree more. Now here's the rub. Kvaratskhelia is under contract with Napoli until 2027. They're understandably keen to keep their prized asset, but contract negotiations have stalled, reportedly over a release clause. Imagine this: Napoli, holding all the cards, suddenly facing the prospect of losing their star player. It's a high-stakes poker game, and Amorim, with his steely gaze, seems ready to push all his chips to the center of the table. He's apparently convinced Kvaratskhelia can transform United's fortunes, and frankly, so am I. But wait, there's another twist. Liverpool are also sniffing around Kvaratskhelia. A classic Premier League transfer battle brewing, isn't it? United fans, I know what you're thinking. Antony and Rashford haven't quite lived up to expectations on the wings. We need someone who can consistently deliver the goods, someone who can create chances out of thin air. Kvaratskhelia, with his direct style, his ability to take on defenders, and his eye for goal, could be that man. He's the kind of player who can turn a game on its head in a heartbeat. 90 million might sound steep, but in today's market, what's the price of genuine game-changing talent? Is it a gamble? Perhaps. But isn't that what football is all about? Risk, reward, and the thrill of the unexpected. One thing's for sure, if Amorim pulls this off, it will send shockwaves through the Premier League. So, game experts, what do you think? Is Kvaratskhelia the key to unlocking United's potential, or is this just another transfer saga destined to end in disappointment? Time will tell. You know, it's not every day that one of your club legends steps into the spotlight as interim boss and absolutely nails it. But guess what? That's exactly what Ruud van Nistelrooy has done. Yeah, that Ruud, the guy who used to put the ball in the net for fun back in the day. Now, let's rewind a bit. When Ruud first agreed to be Erik ten Hag's right-hand man, people were like, wait, what? Ruud assistant? Really? I mean, let's be honest, it was a bit of a shocker. But hey, love for the club and a solid relationship with Ten Hag probably played a part. Or maybe Ruud had his eyes on the top job all along. But hold up. According to reports across the English media, things got even juicier. When Ruben Amorim was appointed, Ruud was apparently thinking about bouncing, like, I'll show them style. But honestly, how that proves anything, I'm not quite sure. Haters gonna hate, right? Some would say he just didn't get what he wanted, but here's the twist. The players love him. Like, really love him. Sky Sports dropped that nugget, and honestly, who wouldn't want a boss who communicates as well as Ruud? The big question is, will Ruud stay, and if he does, in what capacity? See, Amorim's bringing his own squad of coaches from Sporting, 5 of them to be exact, so Ruud as the chief assistant? Not likely. On the one hand, you've got Ruud, the club icon who knows the ins and outs of the team. On the other hand, fresh eyes are exactly what United need to shake things up. Amorim doesn't need an extra voice in the room, especially when players like Bruno Fernandes can give him the lowdown. Here's what Ruud himself said: I'll work for Amorim in any capacity. Boom! Talk about loyalty, folks. But you've got to wonder, is assistant coach enough for a talent like Ruud? I mean, the guy is destined for bigger things, right? And here's a juicy tidbit for you. Apparently, the club's still negotiating the size of Amorim's staff. Behind the scenes stuff, guys. Drama. In my opinion, it'd be a shame to see Ruud go. But let's face it, the future's Amorim's. Ruud's ambition might just take him elsewhere. So, what's next for our Dutch legend? Will he stay or will he go? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, Manchester United fans are watching closely. Paris Saint-Germain, with their vast financial resources, are preparing for a move that could significantly change their game. The target? None other than Barcelona's defensive ace, Jules Koundé. Now let's rewind a bit. Back in May, when Xavi Hernandez was still in the hot seat at Barca, word on the street via Mundo Deportivo was that Koundé hadn't entirely convinced the higher-ups at the Camp Nou. Some even whispered that the Catalan giants might cash in on him. But fast forward to today, and under the new management of Hansi Flick, Koundé has become as indispensable as a cold beer on a summer's day. 15 appearances across all competitions and a knack for versatility. This guy is a manager's dream. According to Sport, PSG, under the ever-ambitious Luis Enrique, are preparing a whopping €100 million bid for Koundé. That's not just a bid, that's a statement. Let's talk about why PSG is so keen. At 25, Koundé's adaptability is off the charts. Whether it's in a back four or a back five, he's like a Swiss army knife, always useful, always reliable. His performances have been so stellar that they've sparked PSG's interest all over again. Koundé is locked down with Barca until 2027, and he's not exactly looking for the exit. So, what's PSG's angle here? Well, friends, they're aiming to construct a defensive fortress, one capable of repelling any forward line in Europe. Koundé's performances have been nothing short of spectacular. In my opinion, his ability to deliver pinpoint crosses while bombing down the right flank adds a whole new dimension to his game. It's like watching a fullback and a winger rolled into one. Why would PSG need Koundé when they've got a squad bursting with stars? Well, imagine this. A rock-solid defense complemented by a player who can turn defense into attack in the blink of an eye. That's the dream, right? Will Barca entertain PSG's offer? Will Koundé swap Spain for France? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, if PSG's €100 million bid doesn't make you sit up and take notice, you're in the wrong game. And as we look ahead, here's a provocative thought to chew on. Could Koundé be the missing piece in PSG's quest for European glory? Or will Barca hold firm and keep their defensive linchpin? I look forward to your comments. How on earth does a manager, especially one stepping into the colossal boots of a legend like Jurgen Klopp, manage to make it look this easy? Arne Slot hasn't just taken over Liverpool, he's made it his own, and in some style. We're talking top of the Champions League, top of the Premier League, and dare I say it without jinxing it, a treble is not out of the question. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, let's break down how the Reds dismantled Bayer Leverkusen. The first half was a bit like watching two heavyweight boxers feeling each other out. Leverkusen, under the guidance of none other than Xabi Alonso, came in with some slick build-up play that helped them stand toe-to-toe with Liverpool's press. But here's the twist. Liverpool weren't all that bothered about hogging the ball. Interesting strategy, right? Alonso had clearly done his homework, throwing a curveball by deploying Victor Boniface out wide on the left. I mean, has anyone even seen him play there before? It was a bold move, but it left Leverkusen lacking punch up front. Now, if you went for a long bathroom break at halftime, well, shame on you. You missed a second-half masterclass. Liverpool demolished Leverkusen 4-0, and believe me, it was all earned. 4xG says it all. Slot tinkered by pushing Luis Diaz up front, and boy did it pay off. A hat-trick from the Colombian, who tore through Bayer's defense like a hot knife through butter. Alonso, clearly thinking he'd found a weak link in Trent Alexander-Arnold, sent Boniface to exploit that flank. But oh, how wrong he was. Trent, the modern-day defensive maestro, handled it like a boss. It was almost poetic seeing Alonso's plan backfire. But let's be real, Anfield is no place for sentiment. Even legends struggle here. Post-match, Liverpool fans, in all their glory, chanted Alonso's name. A beautiful sight, honestly. But let's not forget, fewer and fewer Reds supporters are now wishing it had been Alonso in the dugout instead of Slot. And I'm firmly in that camp. Here's the question. Can Slot keep this dream run going? Can he really lift the treble in his first season? Only time will tell. But for now, Liverpool fans, enjoy the ride. And as for Alonso, well, better luck next time, mate. You know that sparkling gem Real Madrid snapped up from Palmeiras? Endrick, the Brazilian prodigy? The same wonder kid who was paraded as the next big thing after a €60 million move? Well, brace yourselves. He might be packing his bags for the Premier League. Yes, friends, just when we thought Endrick was settling into life at the Bernabeu, whispers from Spain suggest that Carlo Ancelotti could be ready to wave goodbye to the 18-year-old, temporarily at least. It seems the youngster's journey in La Liga has hit a speed bump, with stars like Vinicius Jr., Kylian Mbappe, and Rodrigo hogging the spotlight. Endrick has found himself lurking in the shadows, waiting for his moment. And let's be honest, 107 minutes of action and a mere 9 appearances just won't cut it for a talent of his caliber. Now, here's where it gets spicy. According to Spanish outlet Fichajes, Tottenham Hotspur are sniffing around, keen on a loan deal for the Brazilian. But plot twist, they're not alone. Juventus are also in the race, and it's turning into a proper tug of war. However, there's a catch. Any deal would be a straight loan with no option to buy. Real Madrid are playing hardball. This kid's future is as bright as they come. Let's talk numbers for a second. 2 goals and 1 assist. Not bad, right? But consider this. Those stats came from just 107 minutes of play. Imagine what he could do with regular game time. That's precisely what Ancelotti's pondering. He's thinking more minutes, more growth. And who could argue with that logic? But here's the question. Should Tottenham go all in? I mean, they've got attacking options galore. Or is Juventus a better fit, where Endrick might find a clearer path to first-team football? Tottenham and Juventus are both strong contenders, but Juventus might just have the edge, Fichalles reports. They need a forward, and Endrick could slot right in. Personally, I think sending him to a La Liga club might make more sense. Get him acclimatized to the league where he'll eventually shine. But then again, a new challenge could be just what the doctor ordered for this young star. So football lovers, what do you think? Should Spurs make a move, or is Turin the better destination for Endrick's talents to truly blossom? And more importantly, can anyone really afford to miss out on this budding superstar? If I told you that a Real Madrid side still licking their wounds after that El Clasico drubbing would get absolutely dismantled by a Milan team that's been struggling to find consistency, you'd call me crazy, right? Well, grab your seats because the unthinkable just happened. A confident 3-1 victory for the Rossoneri at the Bernabeu, and let me tell you, it wasn't even that close. From the first whistle, it was clear we were in for a wild ride. Both teams came out swinging, but Real Madrid's structure, or should I say, lack thereof, was painful to watch. The midfield, overrun. The defense, shakier than a leaf in a storm. And Aurélien Tchouaméni, oh boy, he had a night to forget. The guy was all over the place, leaving gaping holes that Milan were only too happy to exploit. Now let's talk about Milan for a second. After they bagged their second goal, they sat back, built a fortress, and dare I say, played the kind of football that would make a defensive mastermind like Mourinho nod in approval. Real Madrid, on the other hand, were left scratching their heads, unable to break through. Milan didn't just sit back and defend. Oh no, they turned the second half into a counter-attacking clinic. Real Madrid had more possession, sure, but who cares about possession when you're clueless in attack? Milan's third goal was the cherry on top, a swift counter that left the home crowd stunned. And here's the kicker. This Milan side, coached by Paulo Fonseca, was on the brink of disaster just a few weeks ago. Let's talk about Real Madrid's defense for a moment, or should I say their lack of defense. For the second game in a row, they conceded 3 goals at the Bernabeu. The stats don't lie, folks. The offside trap, non-existent. Man marking, more like man missing. The first goal, a direct result of defenders sleepwalking through a routine offside line check. Ah, Vinicius. Love him or hate him, he's always in the thick of it. He did manage to score from the penalty spot, fair play to him. But then came the theatrics. That flop after a gentle nudge from Maignan? Embarrassing. I mean, come on, we all love a bit of drama. But that was Oscar-worthy for all the wrong reasons. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate Fonseca's journey. Remember when he was this close to getting the sack? Well, fast forward a few weeks, and he's masterminded victories over Inter and Real Madrid. Safe to say, his job is safe for now. But, let's be real, in football, nothing's guaranteed. A slip-up against a mid-table Serie A side, and the Wolves will be at his door again. Here's where it gets interesting, folks. Carlo Ancelotti, the veteran tactician, seems to be losing the plot. Real Madrid have always thrived on individual brilliance, on that magic that comes from players like Modric, Rodrigo, and Vinicius. Ancelotti himself has said, "We don't need a specific style. Our players are better when they're free." So why, oh why, is he now trying to impose a rigid system? Carlo, your tactics seem to be confusing the players more than helping them. The high defensive line? Disaster. The pressing? Ineffective. The set patterns in possession? Overlapping runs galore. It's like watching a team trying to play blindfolded. So what's the solution, folks? In my humble opinion, Real Madrid need to go back to what made them great, trusting their talent. Yesterday's game was a tactical mess, and unless Ancelotti can find a way to harness that individual brilliance without stifling it, things could go from bad to worse. As we reflect on this latest debacle, one thing's for sure. Real Madrid are in deep crisis, and if they don't figure it out soon, we might be witnessing the beginning of the end of an era. So, here's the final question to ponder. Can Ancelotti turn it around, Or is this the start of a long, painful decline? Only time will tell, but right now, the future looks bleak for Los Blancos.